tell me who rock, who sell out in the stores. You tell me who flop, who cop the blue drop, who jewels got blocks, who's mostly Dolce down to the blue drop. The same old pimp, Mace, you know ain't nothing changed but my limp. Can't stop till I see my name on the blimp. Guarantee $1 million sales, pull a level up. You don't leave the Harlem world, nigga, double up. We don't play around, it's a bet, lay it down. Niggas didn't know me 91, bet they know me now. I'm the young Harlem nigga with the Goldie sound. Can't no PD, niggas hold me down.
Good evening to everyone. Welcome to the second episode of the Money Time podcast for season 2 in 2024. Tonight's topic is very interesting as we look at February. February is the month for love, most of the people would say. It's Valentine's month, and today's topic we're looking at money and relationships. My name is Zweli. I am not alone. I'm with my co-host, Mrs. Nikki Frelinghouse. Nikki, how are you today? And very interesting topic too, I should say.
Evening, Zweli. Evening, everyone. Happy Valentine's month to everyone. I'm doing fantastic, and I trust everyone is well.
Certainly trust that people are well. This always becomes a common question. Why this topic, Nikki?
Self-explanatory. Feb is the month of love, but let's get a bit deeper into it. In one of our podcasts last year, we spoke about one of the main reasons for divorce. Now, this isn't only in South Africa, but globally, and one of the main reasons for divorce is because of money-related issues. Now, I know with Feb being the month of love, people would ask, oh, Nikki, why are you bringing up divorce during the month of love? But it's not about divorce. It's more around money-related issues. But the reason why I chose this particular podcast title, Money and Relationships, is just to fit into the theme of Valentine's month, and also just to illustrate how money has a big impact on our relationship.
Yeah, it's interesting why this topic, because you are right, certainly right. Social media is always buzzing about when towards end of January, you'll hear men's conference as a topic. It doesn't exist, but they will tell you that where people guys will be going there on the 13th. On the 14th, gentlemen will not be available. They will be in the conference discussing serious issues. So it's a way of running away from this day, this day of Valentine's Day. They always run away from it. And so what is being discussed there is how to spend your money, how to never give your money and all that. So it's a very relevant topic.
Really? I've never heard of this conference before. It's the first I'm hearing of it.
Stick with me. I'll give you info. That's what I'm here for, to give you these ones. Believe me, you should check around. But yeah, it is there. It's virtually there because it does not exist in real life. Men would say we are going into a conference and they want to just disappear on the 14th. But then it's interesting because you are a couples coach, Nikki, and you've dealt with these things for quite some time. What insight or observation can you share around money and relationships?
So for some of the viewers on this call, some of what I may share maybe are things that you are aware of. For others, these may be new, valuable insights. So Zweli, the first thing I can say based on my observations working with other couples for money coaching is that we often attract the opposite of who we are. That is the first thing I can say, right? So those of you who are listening out there, think about your current relationship and think about your partner. Is your partner exactly like you, or are they the opposite of you? And I'm almost willing to put money on the table to say that they are the opposite of what you are. And the reason is that we attract the opposite of who we are to learn from each other and for us to become more balanced as people. So let me give you a quick example. You'd often find couples where one is a spender and the other is a saver. And they often having conflict around money because one wants to spend all the time and the other is a person who's so frugal and so thrifty, they don't want to spend. But they come into each other's lives for the spender to learn more balance and for the frugal one to learn to actually spend a bit more and find that balance around their relationship and specifically the relationship with money. Some of the other observations that I find is that there is no financial agreement in place. So what do I mean by that? Now, in South Africa, it's common practice in certain religions prior to a couple getting married, they go through for premarital counseling, right? And they meet with a counselor who discuss a few aspects, of which finance is one of the aspects. But what I've discovered, so personally, I haven't been for premarital counseling, so I can't really comment. But from what others have shared with me, the counselors do not go into great detail when it comes to finances. Now, the financial agreement that I'm referring to is two partners sitting together or either sitting together with an objective party, whether it is a money coach or a certified financial planner or even a counselor, and saying from a financial perspective, this is our agreement. This is what I'm paying for. This is what you're paying for. This is our joint savings. This is how we're doing things. Now, why I bring up this financial agreement is that often people make assumptions. Because when you're dating and how you spend money on each other or how you spend money becomes very different when you're married and living together. Or even if you decide to move in together, but you're not married, that immediately changes the finances around the dynamic of the relationship, right? And my observation is that because there aren't financial agreements in place before people have moved in together or before people have got married, that is where the tension and friction comes around money agreements. Something else that I picked up, this one you're more than likely going to have a little laugh about this, Zweli, is that money isn't the problem when I work with couples. It's actually communication around money is where the problem lies. Many couples are not trained to communicate with each other around money and their financial needs. So this is something that we unpack and work a lot around when I work with couples. A few other things that I've observed is cultural and financial responsibilities. Now, this is a very big one because most of us, either before we get married, we come from living by ourselves or living with siblings or actually living with our parents. And in all of those living arrangements, there is possibly some sort of financial commitment towards the family or other people we're living with. Now, if you're getting married and there's no financial agreement that's in place and nothing's been discussed at premarital counseling around how is it that you tackle family responsibilities and cultural responsibilities around money, that when you move into the marriage and there's tension and arguments and things are not working out, I mean, you can't ask why, right? Because the discussion never took place. And you can't expect a person just because they're married to totally let go of all their cultural and family responsibilities, specifically when it comes to money. The last one that I can think of that's very common is income differences and expectations. For example, Zweli and Yonela get married. They don't have a financial agreement in place. Yonela earns 10,000 rands per month. Zweli earns 15,000 rands per month. Yonela now gets a promotion. She's now earning more than Zweli. She's earning 20,000 rands per month, and Zweli's earning 15,000 rands per month. So Zweli, in his mind, is assuming or expecting Yonela to cover more household expenses because she's earning more, right? But on the other hand, Yonela is saying, but I never contributed for XYZ. Why must I now start contributing just because I got a salary increase? So this is just a little example to show how income disparities or income changes and no discussion or around financial expectations causes a great deal of tension, arguments, and rifts within marriages.
Wow, thank you, Nikki. When you look at the topic itself, it says money and relationships. So it doesn't start off by saying love relationship. It just says and relationships. And for me, I know we mostly concentrating on a couple, but also what you've just said, cultural and family responsibilities.
Yes.
How they actually even affect your love relationship when it comes to money. Because when you think about it, how your relationship and money with your parents is going to affect how your love relationship and money
Correct.
is gonna be. So we really maybe one day need to also look at family money and family relationships.
Sure, we can
so that
certainly do that.
Yes, I would love for us to do that in order for us to make sure that we prepare parents, kids to say one day this person is going to be free from being your responsibility. How does that person go and become independent without being affected by the relationship that you guys had with money? Like you always say that our kids are not our
I knew you were going to
investment.
bring that up.
Yeah, and when you look at that, and once you start understanding what the meaning of that is, and you really mean, and like you always say, if we understand it and we mean it when we say it, we don't say it because the Money Podcast and Man Time Podcast is trying to instill that in us. Then we do not have expectations when it comes to kids about with regarding them doing things for us as parents.
Yes.
And that may be a easier way for them to deal with their love relationships without having conflicts that are coming from both parents' side, expecting also some help or financial assistance. It would be great for whoever who is getting into a relationship, a serious or some commitment of some marriage, to say, you know what, willingly, we would like to assist our parents financially because of A or B, or we would like to do these things for our parents. It shouldn't be an issue of getting pressures that now brings a conflict within the household. But then I also liked the opposite example. We attract opposite, and I think also science or maths also says that opposites attract. And the
Yes.
reason is to find balance, because if we are all the same, it means no one is going to say, I know, not this. In the relationship, we're going to do everything. Like when one says, let's spend, let's go and spend 100,000 tonight, and if it's available and the other one is a spender as well, we'll be like, no, let's do that. Why not? Life is too short. So we need to find balance. But very interesting. There's a lot that you said, Nikki, and as most it comes from your experience. I like the fact that when you do your analysis and your finding says money is not the problem, but the problem is communication. I
It's a
think
big
we
one.
all come across that, where a person now has got expectations that they did not even try and communicate. That example about Yonela and Zweli, 15,000, 10,000 situation. If Zweli doesn't sit Yonela down to say, now that the income is now 35K. Can we maybe move this responsibility towards this additional money so that we are able to do this? And if communication is in place, then maybe if the other part does not agree, at least you know. Unlike you surprise them with a conclusion that I thought because now you are earning 20, you are going to pay the electricity. It's gonna be off me without communication. So it's a very, very good point. And hopefully even in the men's conference, they teach such that rather than going to attend the conference, how about you communicate that, you know what, this Valentine's, I don't have money to spend if that
Of
person
course.
is got expectation. But also on my view, Nikki, just to quickly, it's also, but it goes in line with expectations.
Yes.
I mean, with communication. It's when people have expectations, but they don't communicate them.
Yes.
That is also a tricky one. When you have expectations, but you do not communicate your expectation, especially towards your partner, because this is a partnership, rather communicate your expectation than assume that this person will figure it out.
Zweli, I often ask my husband, did you really mention certain things to me, or did you have this conversation in your head thinking that you shared it with me? So it's a joke amongst us, but there's a great deal of validity in it because we often think things, but we don't verbally communicate it. And you are right, there is a parallel between communication and expectations.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad that we will look at relationships and maybe family relationships and money, because I don't think we exist within a love relationship only, but we do have family and there's other response. For example, like you said something, you get married while you were looking after your siblings. Maybe your siblings are
Yes.
still at university and it was your responsibility. Imagine your wife says, now I'm in the place, I'm in the picture, you cannot be
Supporting
funding
your
your,
siblings
yes, you
financially.
can't be funding your siblings, and yet they don't have parents. You are the only person that is looking after them. So we need to be very careful around that. So this is question is around people who are single, ne? Or the couples that are starting to date, or even couples who have been married for many years. In terms of the relationship, what is your advice with regards to money and their relationships? People who are starting, because I think we're more focused on newly married people in our
Yes.
previous question, but couples that are starting, or even couples who've been married for years, and those who also are single, what is your advice around this topic?
Okay, so Zweli, firstly, a disclaimer from my side. I'm not a clinical psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a couples counselor. I am,
Neither do me
however,
too.
I am a certified couples money coach. So in terms of my response, it will be linked to my experience and, of course, my level of expertise. So if you're newly starting up a relationship, and we have mentioned this in previous podcasts, be transparent and open in terms of who you are and where you at with your finances. Now, often you'd find one partner may want to impress the other partner by giving an unrealistic or by giving an unrealistic view of where they are financially, or a dishonest view of where they are financially, to make the person they dating get an impression that they're financially well off, or they're far better off financially than where they may actually be. So my first thing is be open and honest. A person must show or express interest in you for who you are and what you have, and not what they hope that you have. This could be planning for the future, yes, but they need to accept you for who you are at the present moment. Also, on that note, I'd say don't create unrealistic expectations or set unrealistic bars or tones for the future. So with Feb being the month of love, you may find a gentleman may want to impress his lady, and he'll spend a lot of money on presents and taking her out to fancy restaurants. And this may set the bar or the tone or set him up for expectations going forward, because she will expect this for every Valentine's or any special occasion, because he's already set a tone or a bar in the relationship, right? Some other things to look at would be communication. This also links to the whole aspect of being honest, transparent, and showing up for who you authentically are. It's just communicate from the first meeting in terms of if finances comes up, or how's it if you go on your first date, who's paying? Are you splitting the bill? Is he paying? Are you paying? How does it work? It's interesting, but the first date and who pays for what, believe it or not, will dictate the future of the relationship, because it's linked to expectations, right? And if that discussion is not held around financial expectations, you'll find you go from dating to dating for a long term to living together to getting married, and you can't go back to that first date and change things because you did not communicate upfront. So these are some of the things that I'd like to share with couples who are beginning to date or who are already dating. And also to say financial agreements, right? It's the overarching theme in terms of everything that I've discussed. Come to comfortable situation around financial agreements, whether it's if you're already married, if you're just starting to date, if you're dating for a few months, a year or two, or in a longer term relationship. Have that discussion around financial agreements. It's never too late. It may be a bit uncomfortable if you're married for many years, because this will require a great deal of change, but have the courage to face the situation and have that discussion around financial agreements.
Yeah, I think I also take everything that you say, and one thing that I like about what you've just said is that communication is still key here, because when we are starting to date, for example, if we do not communicate the bill payment to say we are splitting, and this is what you prefer moving forward as a guy or as the lady, then you are going to have a problem if you start changing it 3 months later once you've been doing it. But it's not all lost if you go back and say, before you start changing, because it's not right to say, okay, we are starting to go on a date and I'm fully responsible for the bill as the guy or the lady, and no one is talking about it. And then all of a sudden I just decided, nah, today you are the one paying after we've eaten, or we've already ordered the snacks for the movie, and you'll be like, you are the one paying, and without communicating it.
Yes.
It would be really unfair, because those are the situations that people would come across, where a person feels that we've went on 5 dates and I've been paying for all these dates. She has never paid for anything, but you have not communicated that. The best way is to say, and on our next date, can you be the one that pays, so we can always learn to alternate. The best thing to do is to communicate it rather than act as if it was written on stars, or it's cast on stones that this person is going to pay for the dates forever. So if there's a change of thought or the way you feel about it, sit the partner down, talk to them, and have an agreement, because I don't think the whoever that you would be going out is unreasonable enough not to hear what you say. There may not be an agreement, but at least if they hear what you're saying, then you can decide if you are not in agreement and say, okay, rather we're not going to a date. Let's sit and watch a movie, something like that. It doesn't mean it's the end of the relationship. It means that look at another option that will not cause any of you to go and pay, because no one is ready to make any payments on that day.
Zweli, just as a side comment, listening to what you have to say, this very quickly will tell you during early stages when you're dating what a person's values are and why is that they with you. And when this whole concept of money comes in, you can easily pick up whether a person you're dating is with you for your money or what is it they can get from you financially, versus being there because they they're interested in getting to know you better, which will lead to forming a relationship linked to loving you in the long term. But you can very easily suss out a person's financial motive very easily in the relationship when you have a discussion around money.
Very true. In fact, as you were talking earlier on, there's these short clips that are being done. So these guys are running a test, and it's called the gold digger prank. And I think it sparks a topic for me. It's just that it sounds very
Controversial.
Yeah, to say gold diggers, but maybe it's one thing that we need to look at. Maybe give it a good topic name, but because it can be nowadays. It's not just women; it's also men that are out there, looking for money opportunities through love relationships. And these guys, what they do is they would approach a lady and be greeting them and be like, "Hey, can I get to know you?" It's an experiment they're doing, and it's based on what you just said, that you can easily suss out what the person's money motives are around you. And maybe this lady will be like, I'm in a hurry. I have a man and all that. And they'll be like, okay, nice meeting you. And they turn. When they turn, the car that they're driving, Nikki, they will open it. You find it's a Ferrari, Lamborghini, all these expensive cars, Rolls Royce. And when they get in, these ladies, they come back most of the time. Like 98% of the time, these ladies will come back. But we haven't seen where a lady tries and approaches the guy, because it's not a norm. But I'm sure it would also be, we would see what happens. So, and whenever they come back, the guy would be like, "Oh, why are they not coming back? No, I can see you now. I didn't know that you're driving this." And they'll be like, "But that's not the point." So basically what I'm in support with what you are saying, that you can easily figure out person's intentions around money quickly than you can ever think, because you just have to put the money issue out there and hear what they have to say. And that's as simple as possible if you want to find out. But if most of the time we are comfortable with our partners in a relationship, because we can tell that maybe money is not the burning issue here, and we find comfort in that, because it's a red flag, to be honest, to always hear a person saying, talking about how much, asking you questions that determines how much you have, or what kind of assets do you have, when they're not interested in learning the person that you are, and falling in love with it.
Some very wise words there, Zweli. Thanks for sharing with us.
Yeah. Okay. I think I have last two questions, Nikki, here. Are you able to share how you and your spouse handle money issues?
Zweli, you asked me the most intense personal question.
No, I was about to say, it was too personal.
Okay, so it's not too personal. I can share about it, and I do speak a lot about my own money relationship with couples that I coach. So my husband and I dated for 4 years, and we've been married for a year and a half. So when we got together, and this is because of my background now as a certified financial planner, early in our relationship, we just had a discussion. But we work on the concept of taking turns to pay for things. So if we're going out to the movies, if he pays for the tickets, I'll pay for the snacks. If we're going out for dinner, I'll pay for Uber, he'll pay for the dinner. So we've always had that good relationship in place, but we went on further in terms of our financial agreement to say that we would split our household expenses and we'd split our joint savings. So that is our agreement. Whatever's the surplus of his salary, his income, whatever the surplus is of my income, how I spend it is left up to me. How he spends it is left up to him. But key for us was that joint household expenses, savings, and joint goals are well planned for. Finances are equally allocated for that. The rest is left up to the individual in terms of how they spend it. That's worked really well for us. I can't say we have many money disagreements. Our agreements are more around me and my martyr money archetype, wanting to spend on others, be it my family, friends, etc., and being the opposite to me. He would often just, say, do you really need to be spending so much, or relook at your budget for a person's present? So I often do welcome his words of wisdom, because often, you can get emotional or go overboard when you're looking at gifting people or making certain decisions. So I do value his opinions when it comes to that.
Well, it sounds like a very healthy relationship. And for me, what was important there is your surplus, you can do whatever that you wish to do. And for me, that financial freedom, I feel it's important, because the challenge that one might have is being in a relationship and having finances, a good financial, let's say, good financial standing in terms of, being able to have money and all, but not have the freedom to be able to even get things that they wish for when they can afford it, because of maybe the agreements that are in place. So I believe that based on experience and also with me and my partners, that what is important is the financial freedom after the common goals have been planned for, because it would be sad to say, no, everything now goes into this one account, and whenever a person needs money for petrol, they have to go in and make a request to the other partner to say, now I need petrol. Now I need the other partner needs to get emergency medication. They have to now consult the other partner, which is a problem. So the way you structured your financial relationship, your money relationship with your partner sounds like a very a good way that a lot of people can adopt, in terms of having common goals that you work towards, sharing responsibilities, taking turns, and also having some financial freedom. Because there's, for me, I believe that we need to have that financial freedom, where whatever that remains, I can be able to get myself something. I can be able to send a person that I want to send maybe 200 rands without a feeling that now I have to explain this. And all that is because of not having enough financial freedom when the money is available, but for everything, one has to rely on the other to approve or disapprove.
So it's really, some great insights from your side. I do know of some couples where one partner will give their entire salary to the other partner and say, this is it, give me an allowance and you manage everything. So there's different dynamics with different couples in terms of how they manage money. The way you and I value financial freedom, other viewers may be listening to this and they may say, but listen, this doesn't work for me because of XYZ reasons. So I guess all that we're trying to say, viewers, is that have that discussion, the communication around finances in alignment to your expectations. How you handle your financial agreement is between the two of you. As long as one partner is not left angry, bitter, and resentful at the end of the day because all their hard-earned monies is going towards the other partner or for whatever expenses, and they no longer have the freedom of their salary. So some very important points that you've raised, Zweli.
Yeah, yes, I think for me, what I can say also is that any agreement can work, Nikki. Any agreement, no matter how complex it is, as long as it's an agreement that both parties understand and they are comfortable to implement.
Yes.
So we're not saying that the methods that we are talking about are ideal. Everyone has got different circumstances and financial background. So any agreement can work. But what is important is the communication and also understanding each other's expectations. Once that is managed properly, no matter how complex the agreement is, as long as there's mutual understanding to it, I don't think there will be any issues. And whenever the other partner feels that maybe this is not working out for me, than them to just act up and rather go back and say, I'd like for us to review the agreement and maybe approach things this way. Put the proposition down and don't want to change and not have a solution. You can't say, now we need to change. And then they say, okay, the other partner says, okay, how do we do it? And you say, no, you figure it out. I don't know. Then it's pointless. You don't have a solution. But yeah, thank you, Nikki. For me, I wanted us to keep it as short as possible. Any last words from yourself before we close the podcast? Very interesting and insightful.
So there may be some viewers out there who are listening to this and who can identify with some of the challenges around money in their relationship, whether they've just started dating or they've been married for a very long time, or whether they're newly married. So if you find that there are challenges which you cannot resolve amongst yourselves through communication or through the introduction of a financial agreement, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. Zweli will share my details on the podcast. We can have an exploratory call just to see if there's alignment and if we could work with each other. And as you may have heard from the previous podcast, my life purpose is to serve others and create an impact in their lives. So happy to assist wherever I can. I'd like to wish everyone a month filled with love, whether you with someone or you single, irrelevant. I just wish you lots of love, joy, and happiness throughout the month of Feb and for the rest of the year.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. Thank you so much. I only have just few words on this episode, and this is just from my thoughts to say, don't let money be the reason for your relationship. Rather, allow money to assist your relationship. That's all I can say regarding this topic. Happy Valentine's month to everyone. We wish you all the best. And for the rest of the year, we hope certainly that you will start communicating your expectations and put some financial agreements in place. It doesn't even have to be a signed document, but if there's mutual understanding between you yourself and your partner, and you allow that agreement to work for you. If it does not work for you, come back, you sit down, you communicate it to each other. And I think it's going to win any other situation that you come across. Thank you so much, Nikki. Very beautiful and interesting topic. In fact, it reminds me of some of the topics that we've had last season, where we were talking about things like indoor must, where a man is expected to, and yet the communication is not out there. I think if we have those ladies who says indoor must, they must just communicate it to their partner, not go out there and make it public and think everyone else is thinking like that. Same for the guys who have this expectation, because some guys will not be able to fall in love with a person who's not financially stable. And then you are in a you've got wrong reasons to go into a relationship.
Yes.
But then it's a goodbye for me. Very interesting topic, Nikki. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Zweli. Thanks, viewers. Happy Valentine's month, and I look forward to seeing you at the next podcast. Bye.
Bye.
Who Jews got blocks? Who's mostly Dolce down to the two clap? The same old pimp, Mace, you know ain't nothing changed but my limp. Can't stop till I see my name on the blimp. Guarantee a million sales, pull a level up. You don't believe in Harlem World, nigga, double up. We don't play around, it's a bet.